I'm going to get this rolling here with a quick round of introductions. And I will start off by introducing myself. My name is Ishmael. I am an account executive here over at Threekit. I'm also joined by Will Thompson. He is a demo engineer, a member of our solutions engineering team. So for the first half of this, I'm going to take us through a couple of slides and just talk to you all about why we're having this conversation here today around 3D, and more importantly, what sort of solutions are there and why doing 3D at scale matters. I'll be talking at a high level, and then I'm going to flip it over to Will. He is going to provide us with a little bit more in-depth look at how Threekit works, and then walk through an interactive demo. So you all do have the opportunity of sending any questions via chat, or you could always unmute yourself and ask away. So with that, as I take a breath, I'm going to flip it over and start by talking about why we are having this conversation about 3D. Specifically, we're talking about 3D online for e-commerce or B2B or CPQ, whatever it may be. And the reason we're having this conversation is this trend has slowly been, working its way into e-commerce, and statistics are starting to come out showing what sort of results you see utilizing 3D technologies. And 33% is the average retailer's conversion rate increase after implementing 3D on a specific product. What is also important to call out when we talk about 3D is that your average buyer is going to spend roughly 22% more time interacting with that product or on that specific page if you have a 3D asset compared to just images or even a video of your product. So when we're talking about this, there's always needs to be a starting point. How do we get those 3D models? I've got all of these different combinations. I've got all these different materials, colors, sizes, whatever it may be. And it can become overwhelming as a brand to really just start and get those 3D models up on your website. So I wanted to walk through a couple of the options that you have, utilizing 3D. So typically when a customer comes to us or a prospect comes to Threekit, they're comparing us to, an agency, a custom build out, or really just individually rendering out every single different combination of their product. So just to walk you through what that process looks like, and from the feedback we've been gathering from the customers that started implementing that, stopped, and then switched over to Threekit, was that you've got your individual 3D model, which is what we're seeing here. But then you've also got all the different combinations, all the different materials, all the different colors of each material, and then you've got sizes. So what that means is you're going to have to individually render out a specific 3D model for every single different permutation of your product. And based off of, our 3D artists that we have in-house, when they take a look at furniture, a simple furniture model, depending on where you're starting, it could take from, half an hour if you've got some sort of starting point as a 3D model, all the way up to 4 hours if you're starting from scratch. So when you do the math, if you've got thousands of different combinations of one specific product, you're looking at potentially 4,000 hours of rendering work, and you have to pay those 3D artists to get that work done. So not only is it a headache from a cost perspective and also a time perspective, we also have to take a look at what are you going to do with all of those individual 3D models once they're actually rendered. Where are you going to store them? Are they going to be in a Google Drive? Do you have a centralized location? Where are you going to, integrate them? How are they going to be on your website? And that's where you get, this GIF that I put there on the top. It's just confusion. You don't know what to do with all these models, where to store them, and how they're actually going to work. So this is where Threekit comes in as a scalable solution. We are the engine for your 3D work. So it all starts with that single individual 3D model. Then we're going to take your material, and then we're going to take all the different combinations of material and then input that into 3D. Now there's a little bit more to it. Again, I'm speaking to it as from a high level here, as far as different sizes or whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, ice cream is my favorite snack, so I had to throw that in there. We're taking a look at just the machine constantly cranking out all these 3D assets for you to utilize across multiple different experiences. So if we were to imagine, Neapolitan ice cream coming out, it's going to be red and, brown for chocolate, and then white for vanilla, just constantly cranking out here. So when we compare those two, when we take a deeper dive and compare those two different options, we look at a manual custom or individually rendering each individual asset. And the problem that you're faced with this is, like, when we take a look at, a brand, you're not just going to have an e-commerce solution. You're not just going to have a PIM or an ERP or, a CPQ system. You've got a large tech stack that you're going to have to be able to integrate with. So it's great once you actually have something up and running as far as a custom build. But what happens when you need to make changes? You have to go in and basically rebuild everything, or make, headaches of changes to add new materials, add new colors, go back and forth as far as new integrations. And this is where Threekit comes in to solve those problems. By just being able to create a large number of visuals, all starting from that one single design file. And more importantly, as your headless visualization software, we are able to integrate across basically any platform that you have. So if you've got an ERP, if you've got an e-commerce solution, if you are utilizing a PIM that then connects into your e-commerce solution, Threekit is nested, perfectly where it needs to be, and can communicate across all of your different platforms. Not only that, as a SaaS-based solution, we're always, iterating our software, making changes, and those are all available to you as they come out in real time. So, in that first slide that I showed, at the end of the day, when you have all these 3D models, there's still a bit of confusion, because what are you going to be doing with all of these 3D models? And again, with Threekit, we have your creative side of the business where we're creating all these different assets for you, but what are you going to be doing with those? And that's where we bring in the commercial side of your business, the marketers, or, your inventory management, whatever it may be. And we're able to disperse these assets across multiple different customer experiences. And those 3 experiences are going to be listed right here. So when we take a look at images, what we're talking about is our virtual photographer. So from that same 3D model, you're able to basically host a virtual photo shoot where you can get multiple images, hundreds or thousands or even billions of images of a specific item at multiple angles, zoomed in, zoomed out, in specific lifestyle shots. So you can then utilize that in your product detail page, or even the product listing page. But more importantly, then you can hand all these images off to your marketing team, and they can run with it as far as campaigns, email campaigns, social media, posts, whatever it may be. And then we've got your 3D. So allowing your customers that opportunity to spin it around, interact with it, give them that chance to spend 22% more time on your website, and ultimately that confidence to increase your conversions by, up to, or the average of 33%. Lastly, we've got augmented reality, where, especially now with COVID, you have to find a way to differentiate yourself, because your customers don't have that brick and mortar experience. They can't see what the product actually looks like. But what's even nicer with augmented reality is it will allow them to virtually place their desired product in their home or office or whatever it may be to scale, and make sure it, fits in the space and matches the wall accents, matches the carpeting, whatever it may be, to again give them that confidence needed to add to cart and then ultimately check out. So with that, I know I've done a lot of talking here. I'm going to take a breath and turn it over to Will, and he is going to take us through some examples.
Thanks, Ishmael. Hey, everybody. My name is Will Thompson. I'm a member of the solution engineering team here at Threekit. Really excited to talk to y'all today. So before I show you a demo of how Threekit works, I kind of wanted to give you a high-level overview of what it takes to get started with Threekit. So the first step is, of course, a starting point. In this case, it's going to be a 3D model. Threekit can pretty much take in any file that you throw at it. If we don't natively import a specific type of 3D file, we can definitely convert it and have it imported. If you do not have any 3D files at all as a customer, that's totally fine as well. We can get 3D files generated just from a couple of product photos. So the second step is after the 3D files are in Threekit, this is when we start to optimize them and componentize them. So in the case of this football helmet, we're going to separate the shells, the masks, the straps, those internal components. And here, this is where we're going to make the different color options and mask styles and things like that. And those are going to become the pieces of our configurable product. So finally, the third step, once we have all of our pieces in Threekit, we can assemble them in real time in a 3D player. And when this is done, it's ready to live on your site. And you can have a custom UI like this, but this is where your customers are able to put all those pieces together and build your product with those pieces that you've set up in Threekit. So now that we have a high-level overview of what it takes to get started with Threekit, I'm going to show you what a store powered by Threekit can look like. So this is an e-commerce store called Nile Kitchen and Bath. You can see that they sell kitchen and bath fixtures. And there are 3 experiences here, the same experiences that Ishmael mentioned before. So first, I'm going to show you how with a 3D file, you can generate really rich images to replace product photography. The second experience will be 3D. So I'll show you how your customers can interact with your product in a really new, interesting way. And finally, I'll show you how your customers can experience that same 3D experience on their mobile devices and place your products in their space with augmented reality. And again, we're going to keep in mind scale the entire way. So let's get started. The first experience, like I said, is our virtual photographer. If you shop online, this is probably going to look pretty familiar to you. We have a catalog of our products. All the images on this catalog and on this website were rendered from a 3D model. So in Threekit, you can set up your virtual photography studio where you can place lights, cameras, props, decorations, anything you can put into a real life space or real photography studio. You can also do digitally inside Threekit. So an advantage to that is consistency and automation. So as I scroll through the gallery, I just want to paint a picture of, like I said, the consistency you can achieve. You pick a spot where you want your product to be in the scene. You hit go, and Threekit will do the rest. So you can see, again, just all of the different products that we have in our catalog. They have a really nice thumbnail, and your customers aren't guessing where the next product is going to be while they scroll through. So it's just an accessibility thing, but it also I just wanted to paint a picture of that scalability that I mentioned before. So I'm going to get to the bottom here, and like I said, you have complete control over this digital photo studio. All of these angles and stages were set up to create an engaging scene for our customers. And that's really what it's all about, because those engaging and rich visuals help your customers make an informed decision. So your customers are expecting to see 8 images per product. So as all those images that I just scrolled through, your customers would expect to see 8 images per product. And while these thumbnails are really engaging, they're a good first step in reaching your customer, there's still more work to be done. So here we have a configurable product. It's one of the tabs that was in our gallery or our catalog before. Again, if you shop online, this is going to look familiar to you. To the left, we have our image gallery, our main image here. And to the right, we have different styles and finishes for this tab that we can select. So I'm just going to go through, again, just to show you what you can do with those different camera angles and the different props. These were all generated, like I said, in our virtual photography studio. So everything in here started as a 3D model. Again, if I change the tap heads, you can see the different styles of the taps. But you can even go a step farther than that. So notice that I have the brushed gold finish on this tap. There's accent metals in this bathroom. So along the shower here, on top of the toilet, around the sink. If I change this to a matte black, you can also change the accent pieces as well. And that's just another layer of immersiveness for your customers, right? If they're going to buy luxury taps, they probably already have a style or aesthetic that they want it to fit into. So we're just trying to paint a really engaging picture of what this product is going to look like, because the more accurate the representation, the more likely they will be to add it to their cart, and they're going to be less likely to return it. So this is how Threekit can create images from a 3D model. We can produce, images at scale at a fraction of the time and cost of traditional photography. But this is just one experience. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit and show you a 3D experience next. So here, instead of an image gallery on the left, this is our true 3D experience. And like I said, your customers are going to be able to interact with your product in a really engaging way, in a really immersive way. You can zoom in and out. You can get really good levels of detail on this product. But you can also see it from all angles. So if you want to achieve the requirement that your customers have of 8 images, you can give them images, or you can give them the power to build the product on their own. So again, you can see that the tab finishes change. I can still rotate and zoom in and out of this product. And all of the colors and the finishes match up as well. And like we've said, 3D and AR increases the chances of your customers adding this product to their cart. And those images that we created in our virtual photography studio, they don't have to live on the product page. While I build my product here, if I configure it, add it to my cart, those images live elsewhere on my store as well. But like Ishmael said, you can also use them for marketing materials, blog posts, really anywhere an image can go, you can use these renders. So that was our 3D experience. Again, starting from a 3D model. I'm going to show you one more experience that Threekit provides, and that is our augmented reality. So here's our new tap again from my mobile phone. And keep in mind, this is without any additional apps or installations. So right from a mobile browser on Android or Apple devices, this is available right out of the box. So here I've built a tap, and I'm going to place it in my kitchen. I think it looks good, but if this color isn't for me, I can return back to the store, make another change, and view this product in my space again. And again, it's all about your customers being able to get an accurate depiction of your product, so they're going to be less likely to return it when it finally does arrive. So those are the 3 experiences that Threekit can provide. We showed you virtual photography, which is a replacement for traditional photography and images. We showed you a 3D experience where your customers can rotate, zoom in and out, get a near tactile feel of your product from the web. And finally, augmented reality, which was our last example, where you could see the product in your actual space. So with that, I'll hand it back to Ishmael, and we can carry on the conversation and open it up for questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Will. And especially when it comes to that like AR technology, it's super exciting to see all of the big brands investing heavily in that sort of technology. So it's, just to see where this industry is going to be in, even less than a year's time, and, how this is going to become so normal, is just exciting. So I always want to call that out. So anyway, with that, just to give you all a bit of a background of who you're talking with here, Threekit as a software has really been around since the mid-2000s, where our founder, now CTO, got a start producing high quality, 3D CGI work for a lot of blockbuster films and TV shows. And the reason it's important to call that out is he was able to provide a scalable solution for 3D artists around the world to work on their specific work for a specific movie. So when someone is making an edit in India, there is someone else in America that's able to work on that same scene and not have any issues with it in a high quality fashion. But in 2016, there was a shift that began happening within e-commerce, which is WebGL, which basically allowed online vendors the opportunity to showcase their products in 3D without the need of any outside software, downloads, apps, whatever it may be. So that is when Ben saw this opportunity to make the shift and focus all of his attention from Hollywood over to e-commerce, with some of our first customers being, Tailored Brands, Crate and Barrel, and really just expanding upon that to now being the global leader in visualization. So, when it comes to the 3D visualization journey, you are not going to be alone. So depending, where you're starting, what your knowledge base is, we do have the expertise across multiple different industries to be able to support your specific use case, whether it be furniture, manufacturing, building materials, medical devices, dental equipment, fashion. The list goes on, and it's continuing to grow. So any questions you have, please bring them up and we'd love to take care of you. So speaking of questions, two things I want to call out here. If you wanted to pull out your phones and open up your camera app, scan this QR code on the left side of your screen. You should see a little menu pop up at the top. It should lead you, if it's Apple, I think it'll lead you to Safari depending on what your default browser is. But regardless, hit the link and it will take you to our quick demo site where you can showcase a couple of our 3D models, but more importantly, test any of those out in AR, augmented reality. So while I give you all a couple of minutes here to test that out, I am going to open up the floor here for questions. So if anyone does have any, please send it in through the chat, or again, feel free to just unmute yourself and ask away. So I'd like to thank everyone for their time today. I hope you were able to get a little bit of tidbits and some value from this conversation here. If you are interested in learning more, please reach out to one of us, or if you have any specific questions. But with that, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you so much. Take care, everybody.